What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of What's in the Box Trek. I deliberately did not talk about the Minnesota game, the play-in game. I felt like the Lakers were already going to win that with or without Rudy Gobert. I was fairly confident. I didn't express that confidence here because I, kind of want this to be fun, right? I don't need to be up here being like super rah-rah for no reason. But I felt like the Lakers had a pretty good chance in that game, and it turned out that they won it. You can talk about that in the comments if you prefer, but we are here. Game one of the playoffs is in the books. The Lakers win, and I did say that once the playoffs start, I would do a giveaway in honor of the 10th anniversary of my album, Hometown Foreigner, produced by Duke Westlake. So the first person to put in the comments on Instagram only, and also US only, because the shipping overseas is ridiculous. First person to put in the comments on Instagram, US only, hashtag eat more chocolate. Hashtag eat more chocolate. First person to put that in the comments gets a free copy of my album, Hometown Foreigner, plus a couple other goodies that I can conjure up from around the garage with records in there. Y'all, I appreciate y'all. This is the 10th anniversary. Please check out the record. Tell your friends about it. It was an excellent record, and it still is an excellent record, Hometown Foreigner. But let's get into these Lakers stats. All right. Lakers beat the Memphis Grizzlies 128-112 on a night where the quote-unquote other guys did their thing. This is one thing that I constantly have agreed with Shaq about. Shaq constantly talks about the other guys. He's not the only one, but I made a phone call to my brother, something I can't confirm here, and I said, listen, playoffs are not really about the stars. The stars can go for 40 if you want. We blamed players like James Harden for not stepping up, etc. But at the end of the day, man, it's players like Tobias Harris. It's players like Harrison Barnes. It's players like, Gary Payton Jr., right? These players that put in contributions that are unexpected or more than expected that end up pushing you over the top just a bit, because there's only so much that a defense can take away from an offense, especially in today's NBA where you have lack of hand checking and things of that nature. I know they did add in the ability to play a zone defense. When I was young, that wasn't possible. But the reality is what you can take away is important. And here you have a Lakers team that had two big players step up offensively. And, of course, Vandy, who's been stepping up defensively the entire time. Let's get into the stats. 92 possessions here, 92 attempts here for the Lakers. For Memphis, 89. Lakers were 49 of 92. That's 53% in total. And from the three-point line, which picked up more in the second half than in the first, the Lakers totaled 43% from the three-point line. Now, you got to remember, like that is excellent three-point shooting. That is excellent three-point shooting. I personally think LeBron taking 8 threes is a bit too much. He was 3 for 8. That's a decent percentage. Decent, one off of 50%, that's fine. But, the reality is I still think 8 threes is a bit too much. Although, if I was to give a counter argument to that, I would say the more that he can save himself for the latter rounds, if they make it to the latter rounds, the better. This is not a guaranteed win, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. The other hand, the Memphis Grizzlies were 47% shooting on 89 attempts, 36 from three-point line, which is not too bad. They were very, very hot early from the three-point line, and they had made a couple of, opportune threes. But I expect that to be a little different without Ja Morant if he does not play in the next game. Lakers did their job on the free throw line, which is extremely important, 14 for 16. I don't think the Lakers are very easy to beat if they are shooting above 80% from the free throw line. And this wasn't a game where if you're like, oh, the league is cheating for the Lakers, because I've read that a couple of times, which is ridiculous. 16 free throws to 16 free throws. Matter of fact, Memphis made one more. They were 93, almost 94%. The Lakers were 88%. One free throw less, 14-15, right? So it's not like the refs were favoring the Lakers or anything crazy like that. The Lakers actually did play a better game in the paint. They played a much better game defensively overall. Although you can't take away from what Memphis was trying. It's just that the other guys showed up. All right. 45 total rebounds for the Lakers to 34 for Memphis. Memphis is an excellent rebounding team. So that's a big stat, especially on the offensive side, where the Lakers beat the Memphis Grizzlies 10-6 for 22 second chance points to Memphis's 10. Why is that a big deal? That's a big deal in game one because Memphis is top 10 in these 4 categories. Memphis is top 10 in points in the paint. Memphis is top 10 in points off turnovers. They are top 10 in fast break points, and they are top 10 in second chance points, which means they rebound very well offensively and they get the ball back in the basket. Matter of fact, They are also top 10 in holding opponents' points in the paint, and they're also top 10 in points off turnovers and points in the paint. So they're good defensively on that side of the ball too, which makes the Lakers' offensive rebounding and 22-second chance points even better. AD is a monster, and this is why you look at the contribution of a player, you say, oh, they got to put up 30, 40 to be have a viable contribution if they're a star player. But I think I'd take 7 blocks. I'll take 7 blocks and a lot of alternating defense over, 30, 40 points and nothing else. Plus, if you look at this, the assist, Lakers 25, 24, not too bad, about 50, a little above 50%. Blocks, the Lakers had 11 blocks. Couple great blocks by LeBron, couple great blocks by AD. 11 blocks to Memphis's 2. Turnovers. Here's where you find your problem. Lakers had 16 turnovers. Now, this is who the Lakers are. LeBron had 5. This is who the Lakers are. We blamed it on every player under the sun, before and after, and blah, blah, blah. Lakers, this is who they are. What they did do was they played enough defense for not to hurt them. And I've said this in a couple games. You go ahead and rewind, go back, look at these What's in the Box track episodes. The aim here, by the way, is not to be right. I'm not here to be right all the time like a lot of people like to do. It's not the point. I'm here to just talk about the game for the game's sake for once, right? I'm not here to hate on no players or dislike nobody's whole city. I ain't into all of that. My people is balling in this league, and I'm happy to see everybody balling. So I'm only here to talk about the game. And when you talk about the game, you look at 16 total turnovers, but only giving up 15 points off of those turnovers. In other situations, the Lakers have been much worse. They dodged the bullet here and also played some pretty good defense down the stretch, getting back on defense to stop fast break points, etc. How do I know that? Well, look, Memphis had 12 turnovers and gave up 22 points to the Lakers. The Lakers ended up winning the fast break battle. Again, Memphis is top 10 in fast break points. Lakers, 26 fast break points. Memphis, 17. The most important stat of the night, one of the most important here, is points in the paint. They battled Memphis to even in points in the paint, 56-56. All in all, an excellent game for the Lakers. 29 points from Rui. Excellent defense. Played strong in the post. I have a couple suggestions for the Lakers if the coaching staff wants to listen to me. No, I have a couple suggestions going forward for the Lakers, depending upon whether Ja Morant plays or not. And also cannot go without talking about Austin Reeves' contribution. Excellent, excellent. He's been playing excellent all season, which is why it's interesting that they're now saying the Lakers didn't have any talent before. I don't know. It's a whole different thing, which is why I do this What's in the Box show. Shout out to my homeboy Op, where we just like to talk basketball. All right, a couple things going on here. Unfortunately for Memphis, and unfortunately for watching a competitive playoff series, allegedly, Ja Morant looks to be injured, at least in the short term. I'm hoping he's not injured. I'd like to see a good playoffs. I don't feel unconfident in the Lakers with Ja Morant on the floor. It's a little more difficult, I understand. But remember, Memphis is not a team that falls apart without Ja Morant. Last year, they only lost 2 games without him, right? I think they had a better record without him than they did with him. And that is not saying anything about Ja. But also, look, they have all of the pieces and all of the talent. The unfortunate thing is they're missing Clark and Adams as both of their bigs, which sort of contributes to some of these top 10 stats being lower than before. They're still a good team. Jackson Jr. is still an excellent ball player. It's going to still be tough for the Lakers. But this is where it gets really tough. Without Ja Morant to guard, I don't know if I would keep Vandy on Jackson Jr. I probably would still keep him on a guard. I'd probably keep him on Bane or whomever. The reason why is because Vandy is not built. Vanderbilt does not play well in the post against other post players. He just doesn't. Jackson had his best moves, best games, best parts of the game later on in the game against Vanderbilt when there was no Ja Morant for him to cover. I felt like, I don't know who really did a good job on Jackson, if I'm being honest. He had an excellent game. So I'm thinking that it might be best to go ahead and keep Vandy on the 3, guarding the 3-through-1 spot, and try to continue to figure out how to keep somebody at the power forward position. They were saying that LeBron played great defense against Jackson Jr. I don't think so. Not at all. I think he had a couple great blocks. LeBron's help side defense is great. LeBron's on-ball defense is not. And that can be said about a lot of players. That's not here to particularly knock on LeBron, but that is just the case. Period, point blank. Now, the other thing is, do we expect Rui to have 29 points on 6 for 7 threes? No, I think every Laker fan has said that to themselves and out loud to every other fan, not expecting Rui to do that. But Rui is still a great scorer off the bench, and he still will give you 14 to 16 points. Now, in the playoffs, you want elevation, right? If you were giving 14 points in the regular season, you want to get about 18 from a player. I don't think that that's far-fetched for Rui. Dylan Brooks said that they're going to see if Rui can do it again. I'm not sure if I would take that defensive strategy. If you've been watching Rui Hachimura throughout his career, his short career, you know that the dude can score. He actually can score. His issue was always on-ball defense, open three-point shooting. Spot up three-point shooting is great. His dribble into three is not great. So when you look at those two different stats where he's at plus 40, a little plus 40, close to 40, catch and shoot, he's below when he's off the dribble from the three-point line. But he also does a very smart thing. He doesn't shoot a lot of on-dribble threes. His decisions with the basketball off the dribble are a bit questionable. Maybe that's something you'll see Memphis try to force him to put the ball on the floor. But the Lakers can do better by simply just saying, okay, you want to take away Rui? We'll go ahead and roll with LeBron. That'll be the case here. So I think we'll see a lot more of Memphis, even though they're saying that they're going to let Rui, or Brooks is saying, I'm not sure if the coaching staff is saying that, going to let Rui and see if he can do it again. I don't think so. I think that you're going to see a lot of different coverages on Rui just to keep him guessing a little bit, runouts, etc., which is smart for Memphis. But for the Lakers, that's an opportunity to move the ball. Anthony Davis is now more involved. You're spreading the floor. You're doing exactly what you wanted to do when you brought Rui here in the first place before the trade deadline, which is get another scorer out there that can space the floor and force you to have to guard them instead of going in on Anthony Davis. Listen, we are in for a heck of a series and in for an excellent playoffs. I do want to close with this. There have been some question about whether it is true that the West is a vulnerable league. But let me give you some stats real quick. 1 versus 8, right? Denver and Minnesota have split that series. Now, I know as of this video, Denver mopped the floor with Minnesota in the first game. But they did split that series, and it is hard to tell because Karl Anthony Towns wasn't there for most of those splits. So 2-2, probably a little less open than I would consider, but still not an easy series for the Nuggets if Minnesota plays up to snuff. All right, you're 2-7 again. Memphis and the Lakers split that series 2-2. Which is, again, another bit of a hard one to call. 1, because the team has changed quite a bit since the trade deadline. And 2, because a couple of those games were without Anthony Davis, right? So we don't know whether that split is legitimate or not. We also know that, you know, Memphis can turn a game on and turn a game off. They can start getting downhill, and it's really hard to stop them. But, to be honest, that series was a 2-2 split. Go to game 3, 3-6. Now, shout out to Sacramento. Shout out to Mike Brown. Shout out to the coach of the year. Well deserved. But they lost that season series against Golden State 1-3. Which again is difficult because Wiggins wasn't there. And now Wiggins is there. I think that series is still a little tough for the number 3 spot. And of course you go into number 4. Phoenix looks completely different than they did against the Clippers. Another group that split the series without a healthy Paul George and with a healthy Kevin Durant. Clippers did a great job of taking game 1, getting that possible series split. They could, again, win game 2. I'm not saying they can't. But the Clippers are going to make the game really messy. So, look, I don't even want to get into the East Coast. That makes this video way too long. I'm telling you, if you are a basketball fan, I'm talking a basketball fan, not a player fan, not a team fan. Respect to y'all. Y'all get a little too goofy with it, in my opinion. You guys are anti this player and pro that player, and all of it seems to work out the same to me. It all seems extremely corny. But for those of us who enjoy the NBA and love it, this is going to be an excellent Western Conference to watch. It is. And on the Eastern side, I mean, the Bucks lost game 1. Does that mean that it's over? No. But it does add some intrigue. The NBA is in excellent hands right now. It looks wonderful. It looks great to watch. And I hope that you are enjoying it as much as I am. This has been What's in the Box Track. Again, first person on Instagram, US only. On Instagram, US only, to hashtag Eat More Chocolate. It's a free copy of my album, Hometown Foreigner, on its 10-year anniversary. I got a couple CDs left, so I can ship those out as soon as y'all ready. We could talk about something different. All right, let's holler, y'all. Peace.